The losing Democrat presidential candidate, who is in the UK as part of her global book tour, said Brexit was a precursor to her defeat to Donald Trump in last year's US presidential election. Speaking to the BBC's Andrew Marr, in a wide-ranging interview, Mrs. Clinton also warned Brexit will a very big disadvantage to the UK if it fails to strike a deal with the European Union. Clearly bemoaning Brexit influence in Mr. Trump's successes in the race to the White House, Mrs. Clinton complained about the amount of fabricated, false information used by the Leave campaign to secure Britain's EU divorce. She said, "I wanted to make another point about Brexit. Looking at the Brexit vote now, it was a precursor, to some extent, to what happened to us in the United States." BBC Hillary Clinton was slapped down by Andrew Marr after suggesting Brexit was fabricated and lie the amount of fabricated, false information that your voters were given by the Leave campaign. Hillary Clinton, but the amount of fabricated, false information that your voters were given by the Leave campaign. BBC host Marr, however, was keen to set the Americans straight by suggesting Brexit campaigners were not the only guilty party in this suggestion. Marr said from both sides, "I must say here," attempting to atone for her comments, Mrs. Clinton said, "Well, I'm not as familiar with. But I'm very familiar with what the Leave side said because they transported a lot of that on behalf of Trump." She added, "You know, the big lie is a very potent tool, and we've somewhat kept it at bay in Western democracies, partly because of the freedom of the press. Obviously, there have always been newspapers who leaned right or leaned left and they kind of counterbalanced each other, but given the absolutely explosive spread of online news and sites that have sprung up that are very effective at propagating false stories, we've got some thinking to do. There has to be some basic level of fact and evidence in our politics." Monday, April 3, 2017, Mrs. Clinton also claimed Britain should not rely on a post-Brexit trade deal with the US, because Donald Trump does not believe in trade. Speaking of the no-deal Brexit scenario, she said, "I mean, no deal meaning no preferential trade deals, which means products in Britain would not have the kind of easy access to the European market that you've had under EU membership. It could very well mean there would be more pressure on businesses in Britain, if not to leave completely, at least to also have sites and employment elsewhere in Europe."